Casey, coming up from East Street, from Gleaner Company, coming around those side. As I told you about Spoilers, you have Wildman Street. You have some little streets around that side. That those persons are also coming out in strong. Past some previous election, Casey, Kingston Garden was a community that, yes, a lot of persons who lived there supported the JLP, but they didn't normally come out and vote. Even though Kingston Garden, they didn't normally come out and vote. The last election we saw where a big rise in Kingston Garden.
People that are normally afraid to come out and push up the peace sign in Central Kingston, areas surrounding Spoilers and Tel Aviv, will not be afraid in a time like this.
Exactly, that's my point.
Are you telling me that the JLP fighting crime, the crime fighting measures by the government have changed the culture in some of these constituencies?
Exactly, because Casey, I told you just look at a little lane down by the side Spoilers that is called Cloverly Road, Casey. If you should drive past Cloverly Road any time of the day on East Street,
I know exactly where you're talking.
That's fully green. And normally you don't see those type of things, right? Out where the guardsman is at right there.
Yes.
Exactly. All of that side of that area, neighbor, Casey, gone labor.
Yes, all right, Casey, Scratchy.
But Scratchy is saying that Central Kingston is no more a garrison constituency. So we will see if we have that change. If we have that change, it can be interesting.
Very interesting, I think.
It will be very interesting.
St. Thomas, Casey.
But we will see.
Casey, maybe we'll have a talk offline, Casey, and discuss more about it. Share some dynamics about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I expect JLP to take the parish of St. Thomas, neighbor.
2-0?
I expect, yes. I think James Roberts will retain his seat. That's the safe seat in the constituency. And the Eastern St. Thomas seat will be the battleground. I think Michelle Charles will not be an easy candidate to beat. You might not be impressed by him or some people might not be impressed by her as an MP, but she do her work as an MP, neighbor.
Oh.
She don't have to be friends with everybody in the constituency. She get things done, and politically she have the team around her to get things done.
All right.
St. Thomas Eastern is not such a PNP stronghold. It's a PNP strong area that the PNP have been winning in time when the PNP was more popular than the JLP.
We have to move on, though.
Things have changed, neighbor.
Yeah, we have to move on. The JLP is winning St. Thomas 2-0. Michelle Charles, surprisingly, is being projected to win Eastern St. Thomas, and of course we know the strength of James Robertson.
And neighbor, I don't know why you continue to say it is a surprise. The constituency was held by PNP Fenton Ferguson for almost 30 years.
Yes.
And Rosemary Shaw don't really have a legacy in the constituency or in any constituency. I don't know what's so good about the challenge, why you are being surprised when I mentioned that Michelle Charles will retain her seat.
Well, I maintain that I don't know, I don't see Charles as a natural politician. She's a dentist, a medical, well, she's a dentist. I watch her move around the
constituency. Well, it's a dentist just held the constituency for 30 years. It's a constituency for dentists.
Yes. But I don't know that she connects with a certain segment of the constituency. I think she appeals a lot to the younger folks. I don't know. But let's see how it goes. I'm not any in the league of forecasting as much as you are. Let's jump over to
would you be a fan of Rosemary Shaw? Let's put the spotlight on her. What does she have to offer?
Well, I suspect that Rosemary Shaw herself is coming from the Jamaica Labour Party. I just feel that if the PNP had a stronger, it probably. I think Michelle Charles, if she wins, is going to win based on the work of the government. I don't know that Michelle.
I would say Charles versus Shaw. I'll still give Charles the edge.
Charles? Yes.
Yes, I'll still give Michelle Charles the edge. Regardless of, I'll still give Michelle Charles the edge over
I think that's one.
Shaw.
I think that's one to watch. As I said, I think the party's performance in St. Thomas is going to help her. But naturally, I don't think she's a very attractive politician at all. That's just my view.
It's two JLP candidate. It's a win for JLP anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think her PR is pretty it's pretty. I don't even know what she posts sometimes when she posts. Anyway, move up to Portland and let's see what happens up there. If we want to do,
I expect the Vazes to win Portland, both Eastern and Western, and everybody agrees with me. Neighbor, yes. I think we should move to St. Mary.
Hold on. Let's do a review quickly. People are joining us all the time. Thursdays, we do forecast. We're looking for a sponsor for this segment. Please, if you think you can throw something in and help us to do the work we do here for especially this segment, we want to talk with you. We started in Manchester. We have called Manchester 3-1 for the Jamaica Labour Party. Then we jumped over to Clarendon. The Jamaica Labour Party is coming out of Clarendon with 5 seats to the PNP 1. There are 2 competitive seats in Clarendon, Northern Clarendon and Northwestern Clarendon. KC suspects that the Labour Party will win those 2 battleground seats over in Clarendon. So that's 5-1 in Clarendon. In St. Catherine, the PNP is flipping the Big Rob seat. That is southeastern St. Catherine. That gives the PNP 5 seats in St. Catherine to the Labour Party 6. In St. Andrew, there are 3 seats. West Kingston, Central Kingston, and Kingston East and Port Royal. We have the PNP winning 2 and the Labour Party 1. So that's a pickup of 1 in Kingston for the People's National Party. Then we jumped into St. Thomas, where we have the Labour Party winning both Eastern and Western St. Thomas. That gives the Labour Party 24 seats to the PNP 13. 24-13 going to Portland. Let's jump over to Portland quickly. 15 minutes to go to 7 o'clock. Western Portland, Eastern Portland. How do you see that, Casey?
JLP to win both Western and Eastern Portland. I think we can go to St. Mary.
Eastern and Western Portland. All right, so that gives the Labour Party 26 to the PNP 13. 26-13 going into St. Mary. 3 seats are in St.
Mary. St. Mary is very interesting, neighbor. I don't think we will do St. Mary again until we get a sponsor for St. Mary.
You're not going to do St. Mary?
St. Mary can't go for free, neighbor.
All right. The interest in St. Mary, Jamaica girl, we have to put a pause on the program if the listeners want to hear the results coming up. Yes. Oh my goodness. Listen what I'm hearing. St. Mary's very, very interesting. Listeners, talk to Jamaica girl. We have to move on. Talk to Jamaica.
I think what's the next parish, neighbor?
The next parish is St. Anne. St. Anne. St. Anne Trelawny, St. James,
yes.
Hanover, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. We still have a few to do, Casey.
St. Anne, neighbor.
You don't want to do St. Mary?
No, neighbor, I will not do St. Mary. I got some very interesting information for St. Mary from St. Mary, and it will not be for free on this program ever again.
Oh my goodness. Breaking news out of St. Mary, listeners. What is it that you are asking to be done by the listeners before you can give them the breaking news?
Yes, we want a particular sponsor for forecast on that parish.
Okay. So listeners,
we can give you some parish for free, but not every parish. We have been doing this for free for too long.
okay.
And we have to really put work in it.
Yes, okay, all right. Let's Jamaica girl, are you online? We need a sponsor for St. Mary. The program has been loved by the best. I tell you that there are people Bluetooth in this phone in their cars, and their listener, their passengers are listening to Politics Plus as they travel home. In the coaster bus. Politics Plus is being played in the coaster bus.
Put my heart away.
Politics Plus is being Bluetooth on speaker boxes in communities, and people are gathering to listen to the forecast in their constituency. That's the impact of the program. We need a sponsor.
If another ever came along, I'd just turn them down, 'cause after all, I've been loved by the best.
Oh, you are getting the best forecast here, you know, the best.
Neighbor, I've been in the comments telling you from we're doing St. Andrew, you know, that we have to pause until we get some gifts.
Oh,
Right?
didn't
So
even
in
see
case
that.
if we're not doing St. Mary without a sponsor, I think we should also add St. Elizabeth to that case.
Yes, neighbor. So St. Anne, neighbor. Let's move on to St. Anne.
No, but we have to. Okay, all right. So we move to St. Anne. So listeners, we are going to have to get back to St. Mary because we have breaking news coming out of St. Mary. You don't want to miss it, but we have to be talking to some sponsors to see how we can get this. The work is too much for us to be doing it. Oh boy, I tell you.
Good night, Dan,
sorry.
if you're still on. Remember, Dan playing the live for the passengers in the taxi as well down there in St. Anne.
Dan, yes. I hear that there are buses that are Bluetoothing it, putting it on their speaker, saying, "Listen." Oh my goodness, Politics Plus all over Jamaica.
Why bother with the rest?
Jamaica girl, your neighbor Casey and Scratchy, eh?
The people in the comments saying it's comrade neighbor, you know.
Eh?
The people in the comments saying comrade neighbor.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I tell you, I wonder where. Yeah. I should tell you that a few members from the PNP has made some overtures, none from the Labour Party so far.
'Cause after you and me, baby, I can see nothing else could be even whole.
Good evening, Claudette Fox. How you doing? Thank you for supporting the program.
Settle down for less.
Guys, remember to tap the
Thank you
screen.
for
Thank you,
sending
Sean.
your gifts. Tap the screen, share the live. We're waiting on you to move on. We're waiting on you.
With you I have been blessed. I won't take nothing less. I've been loved by the best.
And I hope you're tapping the screen, you know.
Go ahead, Jamaica girl.
I'm telling Anna, I hope she tapping the screen. Thank you, Diamond 45.
All right, yeah, man. We're gonna do this big for you, big for you. It's a Friday night. Watch me.
Maybe it's Thursday.
Which other program can you join and get them type of music? Yeah, which program? Yeah, man. playing this for Dan. Dan, your taxi man, huh? All your passengers traveling with you. Think. Oh, Dan, good evening. 8 minutes to 7 o'clock. Tick stock. We're on your block. Oh my goodness, this is sweet. John Major, how you doing, sir? All right, Casey, let us move. Let's go. Let's jump over to St. Anne. St. Anne. Remember, listeners, we're coming back to St. Mary.
Yes, neighbor.
Yes.
St. Anne, neighbor. St. Anne will start in southwest St. Anne, neighbor.
Yes.
The beautiful Danishka Williams will be brave in trying to take on Xavier Main in the constituency that is being dubbed Mainland.
Yes.
Xavier Main is going for his third term in the constituency.
Yes.
And he had to beat the very popular Keith Walford. That's the owner of the popular sound system based at that constituency.
Yes.
Xavier, a son of the soil of Southwest St. Anto, is also a lawyer. He is the state minister in the Ministry of Finance and Planning. And he have been a rock solid MP neighbor. And he have changed the fortune of that constituency. I must add that he has also been lucky to be a MP since 2016, where money was available under this government to do more roadworks, fix more farm roads and things like that, and gives more agricultural grant. And
Yes.
he did the work. The funds were made available by the government, but he also did the work. And Southwest St. Anne, a rural constituency. Still, the people always want more, but I think they are satisfied with their MP. He is a good MP, one of the best they have ever had. And last time, he turned back the challenge of Valentin Wint. Val Wint, who is in Northeast Manchester, vying for the seat, being this PNP standard bearer once again. People say Val Wint have never left Northeast Manchester. He left. He went to Southwest St. Anne to be beaten by Xavier Main last election. Now he is back in Northeast Manchester, but Xavier Main should hold on to that one. It's traditionally a JLP strong ground. PNP lost it once in the last, let me see, PNP won it once in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elections. Ernest Simmet was the longtime MP before he lost in 2011 to Keith Walford, who lost in 2016 to Xavier Main. So Xavier Main should retain that seat. Danishka is working the ground, and she is challenging, and I don't know if it will be enough, but from where I'm sitting now, Xavier Main will retain that one. That one will go back to the JLP column come the general election.
Fantastic.
Northwest,
Yes.
St. Anne Northwest have been a battleground constituency since 2002. Arnold Bertram lost that constituency to Verna Parchment, who we remember before the 2007 general election, she crossed the floor and went to the PNP. And then the JLP won that seat at Neil Lawrence, winning that seat for the JLP, lost to Dayton Campbell in 2011. And we must note that in 2016, when the JLP retake government, Dr. Dayton Campbell still held on to that seat by just over 300 votes, beating at Neil Lawrence. I see people walking, weeping publicly when Neil Lawrence lost that seat in 2016.
Yes.
A lot blame the JLP leadership, saying they did not support him much in that election because they didn't want him to be the candidate. However, Crystal Lee went to the seat as the JLP standard bearer and beat Dayton Campbell by over 2,000 votes. It's one of the seats that have been flipped by the JLP last election, and the PNP will want to take it back. The PNP would expect to take it back if they're going to challenge for the general elections. And they didn't do well in that seat as they did in the other seats that were flipped, the PNP. So the JLP is moving from strength to strength in that constituency. Crystal Lee, very strong candidate. Gabriella Morris, a very likable candidate for the PNP. PNP-YO president, I think. And I don't know if she's going to be enough for the to unseat the JLP in Northwest St. Andrew and unseat Crystal Lee. I have Crystal Lee to edge that one.
Yes.
I think yes. So I think that's those two in the western part of St. Ann is going to the JLP. Over to the eastern part of that parish now, southeast St. Ann. One that the JLP have definitely made ground in, but of all the rural constituency that the PNP hold, I think only maybe Southwest Clarendon is stronger PNP territory than Southeast St. Ann, despite the fact that Southeast St. Ann was won by the PNP by only 30, 31, 32 votes in the last general election. I think it's strong PNP ground. The local government election have shown that they have recovered in Southeast St. Ann. And for some reason, despite only losing by 32 votes in the 2020 election and being in government, the JLP is just sending a candidate to Southeast St. Ann. And I think that is bad politics. I think Dr. Kenneth Russell will hold on for the PNP there. Yes.
Okay, so there is only one more seat in St. Ann, that's Eastern.
Yes, Northeast St. Ann, probably the safest JLP seat in the parish. Shiny Robinson seat. It's now known as the Shiny Robinson seat. JLP catapult Marsha Smith there against the will of so many Laborites, and she was against it from the word go because they didn't really want her. They wanted Warren Newby. They didn't get Warren Newby. Eventually, the JLP supporters got out Marsha Smith, and then they happened to be satisfied with Matthew Samuda now, and we saw a strong performance from them in the local government election to really solidify that they are Northeast St. Ann once again and is still representing the JLP strong. It's a JLP safe seat, Northeast St. Ann. JLP will win it. JLP 3-1 in St. Ann.
Labour Party is coming out of St. Ann with 3. The PNP 1. There's no change. Jump over to Trelawny.
Yes. Trelawny, again, a parish kind of like Hanover and other parishes with 2 seats that are normally shared 1-1, similar to Portland, similar to St. Thomas. South Trelawny is normally kind to the JLP. North Trelawny, PNP stronghold. As many parish went in the 2020 general election, Trelawny went to the JLP convincingly. Tove Hamilton beat the former member of parliament, Victor Wright, to win it for the JLP. And the PNP have ushered in. As a matter of fact, the PNP had the turncoat. Dennis Meadows used to be a strong candidate for the JLP. North Trelawny. And the thing with North Trelawny, neighbor, it's
Yes.
one like Western Westmoreland. The PNP wins it more often than not with the bigger numbers, but the JLP always have good support in North Trelawny. It's one of them where the JLP will poll like 8,000 votes regularly and don't win. But they won it in 2020. They are, I think the MP Tova Hamilton have taken the opportunity with both hands. I see where the government the JLP is getting increasingly popular in that constituency. But I also see where the PNP is recovering in that constituency. So I would say it's near level. It's near 50-50. I think Tova is a catch. Tova is one they would want to keep. I don't know if Wicker McNeil is going to get any traction by being the candidate. I don't think PNP is going to get traction from a candidate perspective because Wicker McNeil was in Western Westmoreland and he lost that seat and didn't look back there because it's well documented that he didn't do a good job. He don't have a legacy down there. So if Tova can campaign the right way and the JLP can campaign, they should hold it. But it will be a battle. It will be a battle. I'll give Tova Hamilton the edge, but it can go any way, neighbor.
Yes. Okay. So that's Southern.
That's Northern. Southern Trelawny will go to Marisa Dalrymple Philibert. Paul Patmore is not strong enough. The PNP is not strong enough in the constituency either. I know that constituency well.
So the Labour Party is coming out of Trelawny with 2. Although one you think is very close, but you still give them the edge to retain.
Yes, I give them the edge. And when I give them the edge, that doesn't mean it's a safe seat or they will win it. That means it's up to the work that is done from here on, neighbor. And we will be tracking the work of both political party as far as politics is concerned as we go closer to the election. So there will be changes. There may be changes. So stay tuned to know where they are really going.
Thank you. All right, let's go over to St. James. There are 5 constituencies in St. James.
St. James neighbor.
Represented by Edwin Bartlett. St. James Northwestern, represented by Horace Chang. St. James Central, represented by Herod Clark. St. James West Central, represented by Marlene Malahoo Fort, and St. James Southern, represented in Parliament by Homer Davis. How do you see St. James at this time, Casey?
Yes, neighbor. St. James, neighbor. We'll start with St. James East Central.
Yes.
Somebody in the comments says St. James is fully green. Yes, St. James. Yes, St. James is fully green. St. James is now represented by 5 JLP MP. 5 strong JLP MP. 4 stronger than 1, but 5 strong JLP MP nonetheless. And I think the right man is, it's kind of lining up for the JLP beautifully because Homer Davis is the one in the battleground seat in South St. James. He is the man that is used to being in a battleground seat. He's up against the dynamic first-time aspirant in Nikisha Burchell.
Yes.
I expect her to win some votes, but I don't know if she can cross it because St. James is very strong and Homer Davis have the organization and the team in St. James to go over the line. St. James is the home of the General Secretary, Dr. the Honorable Horace Chang, politically. And I think the JLP is too strong in St. James for the PNP.
I heard someone say today that Burchell, I think it was prime time, that
yes,
that Burchell is very attractive. in terms of how the constituency is seeing her, and that there are problems there with the member of parliament. I guess he actually said that is what elicited someone to come on to with an expletive.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's not what caused the expletive. I told you Prime Time was the first who uttered something he should not have, but a lot of you did not hear. But anyway, we don't want to dwell on that.
No.
What I'm saying here is, like many of those constituencies that have flipped, the PNP supporters will be very vocal in them, no matter what the new MP does.
Yes.
But if you can really put their performance up against their predecessors, you would see that the new JLP MP is outperforming their predecessors. So the JLP support will not necessarily dwindle in those constituencies.
Yeah.
But
Is
the PNP support,
Birchall winning Southern St. James, Casey?
I think the PNP have recovered in South St. James through Nikisha Birchall, and I expect her to do well. But I expect the JLP to do well too. I think it's 50-50. I think it's a battleground. And I just think the JLP have the tool and the people in St. James to overcome that battleground, because by the time the battle in South St. James reached 80%, JLP would have already declared 4 other seats in St. James.
Yes. All right. I am keeping a keen eye on this one. I am taking a very keen interest in St. James Southern. I'm keeping my ears to the ground there.
And it will be a battle. It will be a battle, neighbor.
Yes.
It will be a battle, neighbor. But I'm taking everything into consideration. It's not a far gone conclusion.
Yes.
By any stretch of the imagination.
I am actually,
but I want you to know.
I am actually
planting, not with St. James.
A little representative over there to test what is happening there for me. I understand that it is showing serious PNP strength. As I said earlier, the candidate is all over. I think Primetime said she is somewhat of a what did he say? She has lots of plans. You don't want to misquote him, but
every challenging aspirant have a lot of plans.
Yes.
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 Yes, and opposition normally have more plans than the government.
Right. Okay. Let's not be detained too much by Southern St. James and
and
good evening, Mr.
Northwest St. James, Northwestern St. James is a safe JLP seat, and Horace Chang, the General Secretary, will retain it. East Central St. James is another JLP seat that is safe. It was in a spot about a one time in my lifetime, I think, in my political lifetime. Ed Bartlett won it by maybe 300 votes or so in 2011. But otherwise, I did not see JLP have anything to worry about in that constituency. West Central St. James is the one in St. James that the JLP lost in 2011. It has strong people over in Granville and part of Mount Salem. Granville will definitely go to PNP, while Mount Salem will be 50-50. And Spring Gardens, I think, is the big division that will bring home the bacon for the JLP. And their margin will be bigger than that of Granville. And Mount Salem will be close. And I expect JLP to win this election in West Central St. James. The other seat in St. James is Central St. James. And if you recall, it's a very new seat. It's the third election the seat is being contested. it's been contested, and the PNP won it first. Light B. Simit beat Uri Clark in 2011 by just about 200 votes, or even less, maybe less than 100 votes. And since that, the Uri Clark took it in 2016 by over 2,000. I think he took it by an increased majority in 2020, and I'm expecting the Deputy Speaker of the House, Uri Clark, to take it by an increased majority again. Central St. James is becoming somewhat of a JLP garrison. And those seats are bring you back, neighbor, to the battle in South St. James and why the JLP have the edge.
Ah, I see. But interestingly, you are not giving the PNP any seats in St. James.
No, they don't have any seats in St. James either.
No,
Nothing.
I mean,
I don't have
they're not
anything.
likely to win any. You are saying the closest one is Southern, but because the Labour Party,
I know it's not a garrison Taira, but I'm just trying to I know it's not a garrison. I'm just trying to show the strength for the JLP in that.
Okay, let's jump over to Hanover. Okay, listeners, so let's go quickly. So Manchester, 3-1. Remember, tonight is Thursday. We do this every Thursday. We go across the island. Let me run through for you quickly. Manchester, 3-1, Labour. Clarendon, 5-1, Labour. St. Catherine, 6-5, Labour. St. Andrew, 7-5, Labour. The PNP flipped one in St. Andrew and one in Kingston. Also in St. Catherine. Yes. In St. Thomas, 2-0 Labour. In Portland, 2-0 Labour. In St. Anne, the PNP is winning 1, the Labour Party 3. We skipped St. Mary because we wanted to negotiate some sponsorship for the breaking news. In Trelawny, 2-0 Labour, and in St. James, 5-0 in favor of the Jamaica Labour Party. That's how KC is seeing the election on this Thursday, the 22nd of May, 2025, at 15 minutes after 7 o'clock. We have run out of time, but we are extending ourselves a little bit more because we want to wrap this up. Tomorrow is Labor Day. We're not doing a forecast tomorrow. Let's go over to Hanover then, Casey.
Yes, neighbor. Hanover. Formerly a battleground parish, neighbor. And we see a lot of polls coming out of Hanover suggesting that the PNPs have maybe up to 20 points lead in Hanover, 30 points lead in Hanover. Based on how I know the politics and see the politics, neighbor, I know that Hanover seat comes down to what we call the nitty-gritty. There will be no safe seats in Hanover, neighbor. It will be a battleground in Western Hanover, whether or not it's leaning PNP or JLP. It has a JLP incumbent and it's favoring the PNP. However, I'm talking about Western Hanover now. It has a JLP MP in Tamika Davis, one that a lot of people is writing off, but also her tenure was uninterrupted by other aspirant or problems. Unlike other JLP seat, she still has her team and still have a very good team. She have done some work, but the constituency of Hanover Western was in dire need of proper representation. So she have not transformed Hanover Western, but she have done more, at least she have done more than Ian Hales. So I don't see where she will lose votes based on that. But the PNP is strong in Hanover. And remember, Hanover, I remember in past election, a lot of these past election, it was close and it's always going to be close. It's edging to Heather Miller. I will give her the advantage at this time. But I think I just want to tell all you people out there, Hanover Western will also be a battleground come election night. But I'm giving the PNP the edge in Western Hanover.
All right. What about Eastern?
Eastern Hanover is kind of the same story. People are leaning Eastern Hanover more to the JLP because of the support, the public support that Craig Oates have thrown behind Dave Brown. But if you remember my first forecast here, I forecast that Dave Brown will come through on election night, even if it's by 20 votes. And a lot of people, including Labourites, were saying no. Hanover is gone. Hanover is gone to the PNP. But I know Hanover, and I know on election night, both Hanover seats will be battleground. I still think right now the PNP may have a slight lead in both, but putting the machinery and everything in place and the experience of Dave Brown, who haven't lost since he have been there and is used to a battleground contest, I expect Dave Brown to come out stronger than his opponent, Andrea Perkins, on election night. So I think it's 1-1 in Hanover.
1-1 in Hanover. That's a pickup for the PNP. Let's jump down to Westmoreland quickly.
Yes, Westmoreland, another interesting parish neighbor. I keep on saying Westmoreland is a parish of its own. There are people in Westmoreland that don't want to go back to what they were accustomed to. They don't want to see it as just PNP. They were PNP over the years, despite Westmoreland seemed to have a lot of JLP support that wasn't coming out because they thought that regardless of how we vote, the PNP will win in Westmoreland anyway. It's not so. The JLP won all constituency in the parish on the September 3, 2020. And what that has done, it encouraged the JLP support and even the undecided voters who want to vote JLP, because now they're seeing the possibility that if they go out and vote, they will win. They have a chance to win. It's not like when you used to be in a constituency that, you know, PNP will win in Westmoreland anyway. So even if I want to give the nod to Prime Minister Andrew Holness, I'll just waste my vote. So I'll stay home. You understand? It's not like that. It's a different feeling. And what you're seeing is the JLP in Westmoreland more hopeful, and they're easier to mobilize. So Westmoreland will be interested. I think Western Westmoreland is a prime example of what I am talking about. I'm trying to explain to you. Western Westmoreland is showing their public support for the JLP now more than any other time in their history. And even with the strong performance of the PNP in the local government election and in Westmoreland, Western Westmoreland still managed to win 2 divisions for the JLP. And that tells you that the JLP is really strong in Western Westmoreland. However, I think they shot themselves in the foot with this public fight. I don't know if the wounds will be healed in time. I don't think Ian Ailes is a very strong candidate, and even PNP supporters would agree with me. I know PNP have recovered in the West and in many other places. I expect Western Westmoreland to be a battleground once again. Both parties have making self-inflicted wounds in that parish, especially in Western Westmoreland. JLP have missed opportunity. PNP have missed opportunities. It will be a battleground. Based on history, I would have to edge it to PNP, Western Westmoreland, but it's no far gone conclusion.
Yes, Central
Westmoreland, another similar constituency. I think the JLP have done well in their keeping their organization and everything together. I think the support behind George Wright have never win inside the constituency, and I think George Wright is a stronger candidate than that former MP Dwayne Vaz, and that's what I cannot understand, the PNP candidate selection. Why using Dwayne Vaz again? I think the PNP needed to use somebody who can pull out 10,000 votes in Central Westmoreland, because the votes are there. But I don't see Dwayne Vaz doing that, and I think George Wright stand a magnificent chance to seat in a battleground constituency once again.
Okay.
I'll edge that one to the JLP. Eastern Westmoreland again. Based on the result of the 2020 general election, it was 50-50. Danny Lawrence won on a vote by the returning officer neighbor. That's how close it was. What that did for Danny Lawrence, he didn't have time to be complacent. He was never comfortable. He didn't have a margin. He knew he had to get up and work.
Yes.
His socks off from the get-go to have a chance of being elected in the next general election. And while you can hear people on both sides chastising Moreland Wilson, while George Wright was in the news for the wrong reason, you don't hear anything negative about Danny Lawrence. When you research or ask questions, you hear that he is a worker. He is a presence in the constituency. He's one of those MP that people should want. He's not this statesman politician who's going to be admired across the length and breadth of the island. But he is one that if you have as a candidate or an MP, you're sure to get good work from Danny Lawrence. And he runs a silent campaign, and that can be dangerous. That can be dangerous. You understand? But again, Eastern Westmoreland is a strong traditional seat for the PNP, and I think it's the strongest for the PNP in Westmoreland. And the PNP have Dr. Dayton Campbell, who faced some resistance from the PNP in that constituency. The PNP have recovered, especially in Eastern Westmoreland, based on the results in terms of percentage in the local government election, and with their general secretary being there, with resources, human resources and financial resources expect to be thrown behind him. I think he might edge Danny Lawrence, but Danny Lawrence is one a lot of people are not looking at, and I think he can be very dangerous. But I'll give Eastern Westmoreland to the PNP again.
All right, so that's 2 for the PNP in Westmoreland, 1 for the Jamaica Labour Party. Let's do the review. Manchester, 3-1 Jamaica Labour Party. Clarendon, 5-1 Jamaica Labour Party. St. Catherine, 6-5. We have the PNP flipping a seat in St. Catherine. In St. Andrew, it's 7-5 for the Jamaica Labour Party. In Kingston, 2-1 for the People's National Party. PNP is expected to take back Central Kingston based on tonight's forecast. In St. Thomas, 2-1 Jamaica Labour Party. In Portland, 2-1 Jamaica Labour Party. In St. Anne, the Labour Party is expected to retain the three constituencies they now have. The PNP will hold on to Southeastern based on KC's forecast. In Trelawny, 2-0 Jamaica Labour Party. In St. James, surprisingly, 5-0 Jamaica Labour Party. In Hanover, 1-1 the PNP is expected to win back a seat in Hanover, and the Labour Party is expected to keep Eastern. We do not have the Jamaica Labour Party retaining Western. In Westmoreland, a traditionally strong parish for the People's National Party. Western Westmoreland, we do not have the Labour Party winning that. We have them winning Central. We also do not have them winning Eastern. That's 2 seats the PNP are picking up in Westmoreland. So if you go by the numbers, at this time, the Labour Party is winning the election, but I'll give you the final seat count just after St. Elizabeth, and then we're going to jump over to St. Mary if we can negotiate with the forecaster how we're going to get that sponsored. Let's go to St. Elizabeth, therefore, Casey. All right, he's on a little break. Let's see if we can do this. All right, Tari, can you tell me the seat count so far? Tell me the seat count. Post it in the group. St. Elizabeth, we're coming to you. Coming to St. Elizabeth. Gustav, the Prime Minister was in St. Elizabeth today over in Northeastern. They had a workers' meeting. They're lining up the troops on the ground. Troops on the ground being lined up in Northeastern St. Elizabeth. Take set. Oh, boss, you bet you're in St. Elizabeth. Long shift, we're heading on home. Oh, we're hitting the runway right now, you know. Norman Harris, how you doing, sir? How you doing? Good evening. You're joining late. Skating on late, eh?
Yes, neighbor.
Yes, so we are in St. Elizabeth. Yes?
Yes. St. Elizabeth, neighbor. This is our final parish, right?
Unless we are going to go to St. Mary, or we want to leave that until Monday.
No, St. Mary is a different kettle of fish. St. Mary is to be sponsored.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Yes?
So I'm calling on the comrades to sponsor St. Mary. The comrades will want to hear what's happening in St. Mary. St. Mary is integral to the ascendance of the PNP.
Okay.
We all know if the PNP is going to challenge, they will need to sweep St. Mary.
Is the PNP sweeping St. Mary? Oh, stay tuned. Let's stay in St. Elizabeth in the meantime. Go ahead.
Okay. St. Elizabeth, Northwest St. Elizabeth, a traditional JLP stronghold, formerly represented by William J.C. Hutchinson. He hung up his boots, and it's being represented now by Andrew Morris, and that should be an easy win for the JLP. Northwest St. Elizabeth. Northeast St. Elizabeth, however, is the PNP strong ground in the constituency. PNP normally win that one regardless of who they put in that seat. The PNP support started deteriorating when Roger Clark left, and they started, he was smoothly replaced by Kurt Spencer, who was then embarrassed and removed, and then they started fighting for who will be the aspirant. People coming, doing half a term, going. They had Raymond Price, they had Stanley Redhood, Redman. They had Redman, they had Basil Waite, and their organization and their support deteriorated, and it culminated in them losing the 2020 election to Delroy Slowly, a very admired person in the constituency of Northeast St. Elizabeth. What I have gathered is that Delroy Slowly would have won the vote of people who supported JLP, PNP, or NOMP. So people either vote for him or don't vote against him because they know him, they know what he have to offer. He have been performing before politics for the people, and he still perform. I think he held the opportunity with both hands. I think he was the main factor in the JLP winning the elections in Northeast St. Elizabeth in 2020. He was the X factor because in a seat like Northeast St. Elizabeth, it is as strong as others for the PNP that the PNP managed to hold on to. For instance, North Central St. Catherine, Northwest St. Catherine, South St. Catherine, Northeast St. Elizabeth is one of those seats. But the help that the JLP needed with their big 10 points lead was a candidate who the people believe in and want to give a chance to. They have given him a chance, and he is working. He has worked. He has been dubbed the action man in Northeast St. Elizabeth, and nobody have disputed that. Nobody can dispute that. Anybody tells you that the PNP is going to retain the seat can only use these issues. The people in Northeast St. Elizabeth are traditionally PNP, and we will have a higher voter turnout, so the PNP will win. Every other factors points to the governing party winning through the government or through their MP. So I'll say with the rising, the revamped support of the PNP, they will be stronger again. They will be strong again in the constituency, but I don't know if the PNP, is necessarily stronger than the JLP. I don't think Zuleika Jess is stronger or better than Delroy Slowly in the people of Northeast St. Anne. I expect this one to be a battleground in a strong JLP parish surrounded by JLP winnings. I think Delroy Slowly will take this home again. I expect a lot of people to disagree with me. It's by thin margin. I said it will be a battleground. The work will have to be put in. But I think Zuleika just have more work to do from here on than Delroy Slowly.
Yes.
Yes. So Northeast, St. Anne, JLP. Over to South now. Southeast St. Anne. So St. Elizabeth. Okay. My mind is on Anne. Keep on saying Anne. St. Elizabeth Southeast now. Franklin Witter. Another man that if this one becomes a battleground, if Norman Scott is really challenging and it becomes a battleground, Franklin Witter will be in his maybe 7th battleground in that same constituency with the same team. And another factor is he have been an MP under the JLP government. He have not won it to be an opposition MP. And whenever he lost that constituency, it's for 1 term. So he won it in 2007 and lost it in 2011. He won it back 2016 and he won it 2020. He won it fair and square by big margin in 2020. Every other time it was a battleground. He comes out on top more often than not. Norman Scott is new to the constituency. The PNP support is weaker in the constituency than the JLP. The JLP is stronger in South St. Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. The PNP managed to win it in 2011 when they won 66% of the seats. 2/3, they won 42-21. They haven't come close again since they won it by about less than 100 in 2002.
Yes.
I expect Franklin Witter to keep this seat. He's a hard-working MP, and the people of Southeast St. Elizabeth all say that. So Franklin Witter will be too strong for Norman Scott. I think in Southwest St. Elizabeth, maybe the PNP should have given Miranda Wellington another seat. Maybe Northeast St. Elizabeth, but then again, maybe she wouldn't have been this popular. She is popular in Southwest. Unfortunately, she's not as popular as Floyd Green, nor as liked as Floyd Green. One thing I know, PNP supporting the constituency will come out for him more than their previous standard, for her, more than their previous standard bearer. So she will poll more vote than the other person, Floyd Green beat in 2020 and in 2016. But Floyd Green support will remain. I think it's permanent. And I even expect Floyd Green support to grow. So I see Floyd Green retaining this one by a reasonable margin too. Floyd Green is not going to lose Southwest St. Elizabeth. There will be noise, but he's not going to lose Southwest St. Elizabeth. I cannot see any factors that point into him losing. And that's why I said to a lot of people, these local government numbers, you can't just use them. Because of even Southeast St. Elizabeth, the JLP majority was just 218 votes. It will not be like that in the parliamentary election.
Yes.
There are strong JLP seats that when I look at the numbers, very strong JLP seats that have not gone to the PNP since maybe in the 90s, that the JLP only won in the local government election in terms of numbers by maybe 150 votes.
Yes.
JLP seat that the PNP stand absolutely no chance in the general election. Floyd Green will beat her, yes.
All right. Okay. And we have one more seat left in St. Elizabeth?
No, I don't think so.
That's it. All right.
Yes.
So the only parish we haven't covered so far tonight,
we have covered 14 parishes.
except St. Mary.
Yeah, but no forecasts have covered more than 14 parish in Jamaica yet. We have covered 14 parish.
Yes.
This evening. So we don't have to give St. Mary for free. Because remember, we covered Portmore and we covered St. Catherine.
Tari, can you send us the numbers, please? The Politics Plus forecast is as follows. Stay tuned. If an election was held tonight, here is the possible result. Here is it. The Labour Party, based on KC's 2 seats, the PNP 18. Not counting St. Mary. As of the 22nd of May, the Labour Party has the advantage in 42 of the 60 seats across the island. This is breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Tell your friends. Come, we're gonna go parish by parish now. So we did the work over the last week, and here are the results. The Labour Party has the advantage in 42 of the seats, not counting St. Mary. Why is it that we haven't gone to St. Mary? If the PNP is to win the election, they have to sweep St. Mary. We have breaking news coming out of St. Mary, and we want to give that to you. But before we can give it to you, we have to pay the bills. Tari, am I pronouncing your name correctly? You have been a big help for me. Manchester. Them now Jester in a Manchester. Some people even call it Galchester. Eh? Well, yeah. 3-1 for the Labour Party. The Labour Party has the advantage in 3 of the Manchester seats. They are leading in 3 seats. The PNP won. In Clarendon, the Labour Party has the advantage in 5 of the 6 constituencies there. 2 of the constituencies are battleground, but they are still advantage Labour. In St. Catherine, it's a dead heat. Of the 11 constituencies in St. Catherine, the Labour Party is leading in 5, the Labour Party is leading in 6, the PNP 5. The PNP is actually showing strength in St. Catherine, hanging on to some close seats and flipping 1. Kingston and St. Andrew is a dead heat. With the Labour Party edging the PNP by 2. However, the PNP in Kingston is retaking 1. Over in St. Thomas, the Labour Party is dominant, 2-0. Over in Portland, the Labour Party is also dominant, 2-0. Skip over St. Mary and go over to St. Anne. The Labour Party is winning St. Anne 3-1. In Trelawny, the Labour Party is trouncing North and Southern. Northern and Southern, they are winning both. 2-0. Here is where it becomes very interesting, because in St. James, that's where the Labour Party is showing some of its greatest strength. They're coming out of St. James 5-0. PNP is, however, gaining strength over in Hanover. They are winning back Western. The Labour Party is likely to hang on to Eastern. It's a dead heat in Hanover. It's a tie. Over in Westmoreland, the PNP is leading there. They are expected to take back Eastern and Western, with the Labour Party hanging on to Central. It's a battleground in Westmoreland, but the PNP has the edge. Fascinating news coming out of St. Elizabeth. There are 4 constituencies in St. Elizabeth. The Jamaica Labour Party is dominant in St. Elizabeth, winning all 4 of the 4 constituencies in St. Elizabeth. So we forecast 60 of the constituencies, and we came out with the Labour Party winning 42 and the PNP 18. I should tell you that the PNP lost one of its 14 and have picked up 5 so far. 5 so far. Let's see if we can run this up again And it's your time, listeners. Please specify which seats the PNP will flip. All right, Casey, do you have that information? PNP is flipping St. Catherine Southeastern. PNP is flipping Westmoreland Eastern.